Imagine a war where armies, tanks, and aircraft roar across continents. But the real victory is decided by people the world never saw. People who moved through enemy cities like ghosts. People whose names were erased, whose faces were never photographed, whose missions were hidden in locked documents for decades. World War II was not just a war of soldiers. It was a war of secret spies. And today, we are opening the files history tried to bury. Our story begins with a woman the Nazis feared more than entire battalions, Virginia Hall. The Germans called her the Limping Lady. They placed her on their most wanted list, even more dangerous than armed resistance fighters. But here's the twist. Virginia had a wooden leg, and still, she walked through towns, delivered coded messages, built spy networks, rescued Allied pilots, and blew up supply lines, all while outsmarting the Gestapo. She changed disguises like a chameleon. An old nurse one day, a farmer the next. The Nazis set traps for her, interrogated towns, even circulated her sketches. But she vanished again and again. When they finally closed in, she escaped by climbing across icy mountains, on a wooden leg. Her courage alone rewrote chapters of the war. But she wasn't the only ghost in the shadows. The next spy wasn't just fearless. He was brilliant. His name, Richard Sorge, a man so dangerous that Hitler said, "If I had 10 more like him, the war would change." Sorge lived in Japan as a journalist. Everyone trusted him. Everyone liked him. No one imagined that this friendly man was hiding a mind sharp enough to break empires. Sorge infiltrated the German embassy, drank with officers, listened to secrets, and sent every detail straight to Moscow. His biggest achievement? He warned Stalin that Germany would invade the Soviet Union. Stalin ignored him, but when Sorge sent another warning that Japan would not attack the USSR, everything changed. Because of Sorge, Stalin moved 1 million soldiers from Siberia to the Western Front. Those fresh troops stopped the Nazi advance at Moscow. One spy changed the fate of a superpower. And then comes the spy who never used a gun, but his typewriter was deadlier than bullets. Juan Pujol Garcia, codename Garbo. A Spanish nobody, a man with no training, no military background, no resources. Yet he became one of the most successful double agents in human history. He convinced the Nazis he commanded a network of 27 imaginary agents across Britain. In reality, he wrote fake reports from a bedroom. But those fake reports were so clever, so detailed, so believable, that the Nazis trusted him more than their own officers. When D-Day approached, it was Garbo who fed Germany the biggest lie of the century, that the real invasion would happen at Pas de Calais. Hitler believed him. He diverted entire divisions away from Normandy, allowing the Allies to land and change the war forever. One man with no training fooled the most powerful war machine in history. But the shadows of World War II hide darker stories. Stories so secret that governments destroyed the evidence. One of them belongs to Noor Inayat Khan, a gentle, soft-spoken woman who played music and wrote children's stories. No one expected her to become a spy, and that's exactly why she became the perfect one. The British dropped her into Nazi-occupied France as the only radio operator for the entire Paris resistance. She transmitted messages from attics, basements, rooftops, always moving because the Gestapo could track signals. Every transmission was a heartbeat away from death. She was offered evacuation. She refused. "If I leave, many will die," she said. Eventually, she was captured. But she never revealed a single name, a single code, a single truth. Even under torture, she held her silence. Her final word before execution? Liberté. Her bravery became a legend whispered among resistance fighters. But there is one spy history rarely speaks of, because no one truly knows who he was. The man known only as the Ghost of Warsaw. He appeared in 1942, slipping through German checkpoints, intercepting documents, reporting troop movements, and sending coded messages that helped save thousands of civilians. He worked alone, had no confirmed identity, and left no trace behind. German officers wrote in their records, "This spy moves like a shadow. We cannot catch what we cannot see." When the war ended, he vanished. No country claimed him. No record surfaced. Some believe he was a Polish resistance fighter. Others say he was a British agent gone rogue. Some think he was never one man at all, but a cover name for multiple spies working as one phantom. Whatever the truth is, his presence terrified the occupiers and protected the helpless. These spies didn't fight with rifles or tanks. They fought with silence, with deception, with courage that never made it to the front page. They bent entire nations from the shadows. And in the next segment, we go even deeper into the operations, betrayals, and shocking missions that history intentionally hid. The deeper we go into the secrets of World War II, the more we realize one truth. Spies weren't just observers. They were the invisible architects of victory. They controlled information, and information controlled the world. Some saved millions, some betrayed nations, and some walked on both sides of the line. One of these shadow figures was Sidney Reilly, the man known as the Ace of Spies. Although his biggest missions began before World War II, his techniques shaped every spy that came after him. Nazi officers studied his methods. The British used his strategies in the SOE. Reilly infiltrated German factories, stole blueprints, manipulated businessmen, and even attempted to influence leaders. His ability to become anyone, a diplomat one day, a businessman the next, became the template for future spy operations. His legend influenced countless secret missions during World War II, though most remain sealed in classified archives. Reilly's influence wasn't in the missions he did, but in the missions others learned to do, because of him. But if Reilly was the blueprint, then Duško Popov was the real-life James Bond. And no, that's not an exaggeration. Ian Fleming, the creator of James Bond, admitted Popov inspired the character. Why? Because Popov lived bigger than fiction. He partied with high-ranking officers, seduced valuable targets, and slipped through borders, carrying secrets in codes no one detected. The Nazis trusted him. The Allies trusted him. But Popov played only one side, the side that would win. His most important mission was a warning to the United States about an imminent Japanese attack. His warning was ignored. And months later, Pearl Harbor happened. The world changed, and Popov's credibility skyrocketed. After that, even the most suspicious agencies stepped back and let him work. But spies didn't always hide behind charm or intelligence. Some walked directly into the jaws of death to gather information. One of them was Fritz Kolbe, a German clerk who became one of the Allies' most important sources. Kolbe worked in the German Foreign Ministry, surrounded by top-secret documents. He hated the Nazi regime, and instead of staying silent, he acted. Every night, he smuggled documents out of the office in his briefcase. Maps, reports, troop positions, code books, everything Hitler tried to protect. Kolbe passed more than 1,000 classified documents to the Allies. His work saved entire Allied divisions from walking into traps. But here's the heartbreaking twist. After the war, Germany rejected him. They called him a traitor. It took decades before the world recognized him as a hero. Some stories are even darker. Some spies didn't work for freedom. They worked for themselves. One such figure was Ilyesa Bazna, codenamed Cicero, a simple valet in the British Embassy in Turkey, who secretly photographed documents and sold them to the Nazis. He earned a fortune working as a spy, but the Germans paid him in counterfeit money. His betrayal changed nothing for the Nazis, but it destroyed his own life. He remains a reminder that in the world of spies, motives are rarely pure, and trust is never real. And then, there are the missions that history erased, missions that governments refuse to acknowledge even today, like the mysterious Operation Salam. Two spies, Laszlo Almasi and his partner, crossed the Sahara Desert to infiltrate Allied lines. They navigated endless dunes, deadly heat, and enemy patrols. Their mission was to deliver coded intelligence to German units in North Africa. The operation was so daring that British intelligence refused to believe it was possible. But Almasi did it. He traveled thousands of kilometers through impossible terrain without being detected. He returned like a myth. His life inspired the story, The English Patient. But the truth was far stranger and far more dangerous. World War II wasn't just a clash of nations. It was a silent battlefield of spies. Men and women who risked everything with no guarantee that their names would ever be remembered. Some worked for freedom, some for revenge, some for money, and some because they believed the world needed them to act when everyone else was afraid. They didn't fight for medals or glory. They fought knowing that one mistake meant torture, execution, disappearance, or a file locked away forever. These spies changed the world, but history buried them in shadows. Today, as we uncover their stories, we honor the ghosts who walked into danger alone, the ones who never fired a weapon, yet changed the outcome of the greatest war in human history. Their courage didn't echo in parades. Their victories didn't appear in textbooks. But their impact? It shaped the world you live in today. If you want the hidden truth behind more secret missions, lost operations, and unseen heroes of World War II, this series is just beginning.